Welcome to the channel where everyday pocket change becomes a treasure hunt, where coins that look ordinary at first glance reveal stories, secrets, and surprises that could transform them into rare collectibles worth more than you ever imagined. And today we are unlocking the fascinating world of the 2016 1-cent coin, a modern Lincoln cent that may only be a few years old but has captivated collectors and numismatists across the country due to its hidden minting errors, subtle flaws, and manufacturing anomalies that make certain examples of this coin worth as much as $57 or even more depending on rarity, condition, and the nature of the mistakes. So get ready as we journey deep into the characteristics that make the 2016 1-cent coin not just another piece of copper-plated zinc, but a potential gem that could be hiding unnoticed in your pocket, your coin jar, or your collection. And to understand its unique appeal, we begin with how modern pennies are produced, because the United States Mint manufactures billions of coins each year using high-speed presses and precise equipment. But even with such rigorous processes, mistakes happen, and it is these mistakes, called mint errors, that bring unexpected value to seemingly common coins. And in the case of the 2016 1-cent piece, there are a number of known and sought-after errors that have turned heads in the collecting community, including double die obverses where the image of Lincoln or the inscriptions appear to have been struck twice in slightly offset positions, giving rise to a ghost-like doubling effect that is most noticeable in the date, the motto "In God We Trust," or the word liberty. And these double die errors occur during the die creation process when the working hub imprints the die more than once in misaligned positions, causing any coin struck by that die to bear the telltale signs of doubling, which can vary in intensity from mild to dramatic, with the more visible and extreme examples commanding higher premiums from collectors, especially when they are authenticated by top-tier grading companies who categorize these errors and assign them designations like DDO, double die obverse, along with grades based on overall preservation, luster, and strike quality. And another category of valuable 2016 penny errors are off-center strikes, which result from the planchette, the blank disc that becomes the coin, being misaligned when struck between the dies, creating coins where part of the design is missing, with some off-center coins showing as much as 50% of the design off the edge. And these coins are particularly prized when the date remains fully visible despite the off-center strike, because a visible date makes attribution and valuation easier, and the degree of off-centering, combined with how much of the original design is preserved, determines how much collectors are willing to pay. And among other dramatic errors are die cracks and cuds, which are raised irregular lines or blobs on the surface of the coin caused by breaks in the die itself, and these cracks can extend across Lincoln's face, the lettering, or the shield on the reverse, while a cud appears when part of the die breaks away entirely, causing a section of the coin to be missing or malformed in a way that's highly recognizable and desirable to error collectors. And then there are die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette between them, leaving impressions of each other on the wrong side of future coins, creating eerie mirrored outlines of Lincoln's bust on the reverse shield or traces of the shield on Lincoln's face. And although subtle, these errors are rare and collectible, especially when they occur with other anomalies. And let's not forget the plating bubbles, which are common to copper-plated zinc cents minted after 1982, and occur when the outer copper layer doesn't adhere properly to the zinc core, creating blisters or bubbles on the surface that sometimes grow over time or pop, revealing the silvery metal beneath and leading to further deterioration if left exposed to air or moisture. And though plating bubbles alone aren't always worth much, when found on otherwise high-grade coins or alongside other errors, they can boost the desirability and command a premium. And transitional errors are also part of the discussion, which happen when a coin is struck on the wrong planchette, perhaps a leftover from a previous year or another denomination altogether, resulting in a 2016 penny that's lighter, heavier, the wrong color, or smaller or larger than normal. And such mistakes can occur when planchets from other coins are mistakenly fed into the wrong press, producing wild rarities like a penny struck on a dime planchette, causing incomplete designs and off-diameter coins that are eye-catching and very valuable. And another phenomenon that affects 2016 cents are die deterioration, doubling and machine doubling, which may appear similar to true double dies but are caused by mechanical or die wear rather than hub misalignment. And although these are more common and generally less valuable, there are exceptions where strong machine doubling creates dramatic effects that appeal to collectors, especially when mistaken for true doubling or when found in conjunction with other errors. And speaking of conjunctions, sometimes a 2016 penny will feature multiple errors, like a doubled die with an off center strike and a die chip, all in one. And these multi-error coins are especially collectible because of their uniqueness, and sometimes fetch surprisingly high prices. And what also adds to the appeal of the 2016 cent is the relatively low awareness of these errors among the general public, meaning there are likely thousands of error coins in circulation or in change jars waiting to be discovered by the sharp-eyed collector or curious hobbyist. And with coin roll hunting growing in popularity, people are scouring bank rolls and pocket change in search of valuable finds, and every now and then, someone pulls a 2016 cent with a strange line on Lincoln's cheek or an odd bubble near the shield, and upon further inspection and authentication, that humble cent becomes a trophy piece worth many times its face value. And among collectors, certified examples in high mint state grades, such as MS66 or better, combined with errors are especially valuable, because they offer both rarity and condition, two key pillars of coin value. And while a common circulated 2016 penny is worth only a cent, its error-laden sibling might sell for $10, $25, or even $57 depending on who's looking and what market trends are favoring. And that brings us to auctions and marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and coin shows, where error coins are frequently showcased and sold, often after professional grading by companies like PCGS or NGC. And these organizations don't just assign numeric grades but also label the specific error type on the holder, providing assurance and provenance to buyers and sellers alike. And in this way, a 2016 penny that might go unnoticed in one person's hand becomes a certified collectible in another's, complete with an error designation, population report, and a value that dwarfs its original worth. And that's the real magic behind error coins, not just in the minting mishaps themselves, but in how they tell stories of the minting process. Human error, mechanical failure, and the randomness that gives rise to rare beauty. And every collector has a tale of discovering an unexpected error, whether from a roll, a cash register, or a passed-down coin jar. And for many, the thrill lies not just in the value but in the chase. And the 2016 1-cent coin represents the perfect example of how even the most modern and mundane denomination can surprise and delight when you look closely. So whether you're new to numismatics or a seasoned enthusiast, keep your eyes open for these error types: doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, die clashes, plating bubbles, cuds, misaligned dies, brockages, wrong planchette strikes, and more. Because every 2016 cent you encounter could be a hidden gem just waiting for the right person to recognize its true worth. And it all begins with awareness, with education, and with the curiosity to look closer at the everyday objects in your life, because you never know when a single cent might actually be worth $57 or more. And as we've seen with other dates and mint marks, error coins aren't confined to history, they're being created even today, in modern minting operations where volume and speed sometimes outpace quality control. And while most errors are caught and removed, some slip through and enter circulation, sparking interest, excitement, and sometimes bidding wars among collectors who value their rarity and uniqueness. And so the 2016 1-cent coin stands as a perfect case study of how modern coins remain fertile ground for error hunting and collection. Next, 1996 D1-cent USA coin. Today we are uncovering the astonishing world behind the 1996 D1-cent coin, a copper-plated zinc Lincoln Memorial penny minted at the Denver Mint, which despite its common appearance has surprised collectors and numismatists alike by reaching values as high as $61 in the collector market, all thanks to the multitude of minting errors, production mishaps, and rare anomalies that make it a key piece for anyone seeking hidden gems in the world of American currency. Because while millions of these coins were struck for circulation, Only a fraction of them display the rare and valuable mistakes that drive their price well above face value, such as double die obverses where the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or the date 1996 show distinct doubling visible to the naked eye, an error caused by the misalignment between the die and hub during the creation of the working die, which results in design elements being imprinted twice on the same coin and instantly recognizable. By seasoned collectors who know how to spot the difference between a mechanical doubling and a true double die, making such coins highly desirable and often submitted to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC for authentication and preservation. And these double die varieties can come in many forms, from strong Class 4 double dies that show bold secondary images to more subtle Class 2 types where design elements are stretched or distorted, but even minor examples when verified can fetch values far beyond face value. And then there are off-center strikes, which occur when a coin is not properly seated within the striking chamber during the minting process, causing the design to appear partially or entirely off the flan, with the degree of the off-center strike playing a major role in determining its market value. And when the date is still fully visible along with a portion of the design, such coins are considered especially valuable because they are both identifiable and aesthetically dramatic, attracting attention from those who specialize in error coin collecting, while extreme off-centers with more than 50% of the design missing often fetch premiums simply due to their visual impact and rarity. And alongside those are die cracks and die breaks, which can appear as raised lines or even blobs on the coin's surface, the result of worn or stressed dies developing fractures during repeated use, and sometimes these cracks can travel across the design in such a way that collectors nickname them based on appearance, like the lightning bolt or beard crack, especially when they travel across Lincoln's profile, and die chips and retained cut errors, where parts of the die collapse and cause a chunk of metal to be raised on the coin's surface, or even a piece of the design to be completely filled in, are similarly intriguing to error coin fans because of their unique character and collectability. And then there's the dramatic die clash, a result of the obverse and reverse dies striking each other without a planchette in place, transferring ghost-like impressions of each side's design onto the other. So when a Lincoln Memorial building appears faintly behind Lincoln's head, or when the reverse shows hints of Lincoln's chin or bow tie, collectors know they've found a die clash error that could bring significant attention in auctions or private sales. And some 1996 descents are known to exhibit minor but real clashes that only show up under magnification, while others are bolder and more obvious, adding to their intrigue. And strike-through errors further broaden the horizon of possibilities, where foreign materials like grease, cloth fibers, or even wire end up between the die and planchette during the strike, leaving behind shallow, unusual impressions, or even missing design elements, making each strike-through error coin a one-of-a-kind find that tells a specific story about that moment in the minting process. And in rare circumstances, planchets from other coin types or incorrect alloys are mistakenly used, a phenomenon known as a transitional or wrong planchette error. And while these are not confirmed for the 1996 descent in great numbers, there's always the possibility that overlooked or misattributed examples exist, waiting to be found in circulation or in old change jars. And speaking of materials, the 1996 descent, like others minted post-1982, was primarily composed of copper-plated zinc rather than solid bronze like earlier cents, and the change in composition has led to its own class of errors, particularly plating blisters and bubbles caused by poor adhesion between the zinc core and the thin copper plating, especially in areas of the coin's surface with high relief like Lincoln's face or the central parts of the memorial. And collectors often prize dramatic plating errors when they show bubbling, missing copper revealing the zinc core underneath, or coins with completely missing copper layers, sometimes referred to as unplated cents, which are rare and command much attention when authenticated. And the Denver Mint itself has a long history of mechanical issues and high-speed production challenges that occasionally result in coins with multiple types of errors simultaneously, such as a coin struck off-center with a die crack and a plating bubble, making such multi-error specimens exponentially more interesting to collectors. And with over 6 billion 1996 descents produced, one might assume there's nothing special about them. But that huge production number also increases the chance that somewhere in the frenzy of minting, mistakes were made and hidden in plain sight. And as coin roll hunters and metal detectorists will tell you, finding one of these flawed coins among ordinary pocket change is like winning a miniature lottery, especially when the coin shows high eye appeal, minimal wear, and the kind of dramatic error that can be immediately appreciated without magnification. And these coins have appeared in online marketplaces, coin shows, and auctions with surprising frequency, often with wide ranges in asking prices depending on condition, error type, and whether or not they have been professionally graded. And it's not uncommon to see raw error 1996D cents offered for $15 to $30 when the error is minor, but more dramatic or certified pieces can easily reach the $50 to $61 range, especially if the coin has retained good luster and hasn't suffered from environmental damage, corrosion, or improper cleaning, which can lower value even when the error is significant. And part of what makes these coins so fascinating is that each error has its own story, whether it was a die that had cracked over time and continued to be used, or a misfeed during striking, or an accidental clash that wasn't noticed until hundreds of coins had already been struck and released into circulation. And for those new to coin collecting, the idea that a penny can be worth $61 might sound unbelievable, but the world of error coin collecting is driven by rarity, visual appeal, and collector demand, and few things generate more excitement than discovering a coin that deviates from the norm in a dramatic and verifiable way. And that's why understanding what to look for is so essential. Clear doubling on the date or inscriptions, visible die cracks or cuds, off-center strikes with visible dates, coins struck through cloth or grease, die clashes with ghost images, or any kind of anomaly that stands out from the uniformity expected in modern US mint production. And with tools like a 10x jeweller's loop, coin microscope, or even smartphone macro lenses, anyone can start examining their change for signs of value. And by studying comparison images, referencing known varieties listed on resources like Variety Vista or coppercoins.com, and learning how to distinguish true errors from post-mint damage, such as dents, corrosion, or scratches caused by circulation, collectors can better understand what gives a coin like the 1996D cent its elevated worth. And in some cases, new varieties are being discovered even today, as technology and interest grow, and collectors re-examine their holdings with better equipment, sometimes spotting previously undocumented doubling or new die markers that lead to the recognition of an entirely new variety, which only adds to the mystique of the 1996D penny and coins like it. Because in a world where most people overlook pocket change entirely, these coins become a kind of modern-day treasure hunt, with each find offering the thrill of discovery and the potential for real profit, especially when a coin once dismissed as a worthless cent turns out to be a sought-after collectible hiding in plain sight. And so whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a curious newcomer, the 1996 D1 cent coin serves as a perfect example of how knowledge, patience, and a little luck can transform a single penny into a prize worth many times its face value, proving that every coin has a story, and it's up to us to find it. Last 2001 cent USA coin, where we dig deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, where ordinary pocket change can turn into extraordinary value. And today we are diving into an often overlooked yet highly intriguing piece, the 2001 cent coin, which has been found in certain rare error-filled variations to be worth as much as $11 or even more, depending on the specific imperfections, striking mistakes, and production anomalies it contains, making it not just a simple penny but a hidden gem that could be lying quietly in your collection or even in your change jar at this very moment. Because while most people discard pennies without a second thought, those who understand the intricacies of coin minting and the unexpected errors that can occur during the mass production process know that every cent has a story, and the 2000 Lincoln cent is no exception. Minted in large numbers at facilities like the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but still capable of producing coins that are one of a kind due to a variety of unexpected and valuable minting flaws such as double dies, die cracks, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die clashes, strike-throughs, cuds, and even transitional planchette errors. all of which can dramatically increase a coin's value far beyond its face value, especially when certified and authenticated by top grading services like PCGS or NGC. And that's where the fun begins, because a 2001 cent coin with a dramatic die clash showing parts of Lincoln's image faintly mirrored from the reverse or even ghosting from other parts of the coin, especially if these anomalies are well-defined and easily visible to the naked eye, can instantly elevate the coin into a collector's item, attracting attention not just for the error itself but for the uniqueness and collectability it represents. And let's not forget about die chips, which occur when small pieces of the die break off and cause raised blobs or bumps on the coin, often seen on Lincoln's eye, bow tie, or even on the numbers of the date, and collectors refer to some of these with affectionate nicknames like spiked head or bubbled tie. And when a chip is prominent enough, it gives the coin character and collectability. And then there are coins struck on defective or misaligned planches that result in off-center strikes. If a 2000 cent is 5%, 10%, or even 50% off-center, the level of misalignment can influence both the rarity and value, with full visible dates and mint marks on off-center coins fetching higher premiums because the diagnostic features help prove authenticity and appeal to buyers, while broad strikes, where the collar that helps shape the coin's rim fails during striking and leaves a larger, flatter flan, can also be found in the 2000 Lincoln cents and are especially prized when the full design is clear and centered. And speaking of clarity, double die obverse or reverse coins are often the crown jewels of mint errors, resulting from a misalignment during the hubbing process that causes the design elements to appear doubled. Look closely at Liberty, the date, or the motto "I in God We Trust" on the 2000 cents, and you may notice clear doubling under magnification. And even slight doubling can add value when it's certified, but dramatic doubling can make a coin truly desirable. And don't overlook die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, leaving behind ghost-like impressions of one die's design onto the other. These errors, especially when they produce visible impressions of memorial columns or parts of Lincoln's image on the wrong side, become fascinating conversation pieces among collectors and can demand higher prices. And beyond that, we have strike-through errors, where foreign materials like grease, cloth, or other debris get between the die and the blank planchette during striking, causing portions of the design to appear missing or distorted. And grease-filled dies in particular can cause parts of the design to be faint or invisible, leading collectors to believe they've found a rare variety when in fact it's a one-off mint mistake that nonetheless can carry value due to its uniqueness. And these aren't the only possibilities either. Coins struck on the wrong planches are exceptionally rare but occasionally occur, including Lincoln cents struck on dime planches or foreign blanks that slipped into the hopper, leading to lighter weight and undersized coins that are instantly obvious when weighed and measured. And these planchette errors are among the most exciting finds because they're not always easily visible at first glance but can be verified through scale and diameter comparisons. And the 2000 cent has occasionally turned up in such forms, and when authenticated, these can command serious premiums, especially if the coin is in high grade and shows strong design features. And speaking of condition, the state of preservation is also key. Coins with brilliant uncirculated surfaces, full red coloration, and minimal contact marks fetch the most on the open market, particularly when error features are dramatic and eye-catching. And while most 2000 cents are found in circulated condition, those that have remained untouched in rolls, bags, or mint sets are candidates for higher valuation, especially when they also contain one or more of the aforementioned errors. And when combined, say a double die with a die chip and off-center strike, the value is exponentially increased due to the compound rarity, and these coins often become prized centerpieces of personal collections or hot items at auctions and online sales platforms where demand for dramatic mint errors remains high, particularly among younger collectors looking for affordable entry points into numismatics. And the 2000 cent at $11 might not sound like a fortune, but it represents the idea that hidden treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. And for those willing to inspect their coins closely, the reward is both educational and financial, encouraging more people to pay attention to what passes through their hands each day. And remember that even coins with less dramatic errors, minor misalignments, tilted dies, uneven thickness, or rotated reverses, can still hold premium value, especially when submitted for grading and encapsulated with proper error notations. And as grading services continue to expand their recognition of newer and more obscure minting issues, the possibilities only grow. For coins like the 2000 cent to surprise collectors and sellers alike. And if you've ever wondered whether your loose change holds hidden gems, the answer is yes. And it's coins like the 2000 Lincoln cent with unexpected production quirks that prove just how deep and wide the world of mint errors really is.